Even today's physical environments are becoming more complex. You can see here on this left-hand side of the screen and left-hand side of this graphic, these are the 42 different ways that stores are failing to meet the needs of today's consumers. And right there on the left, execute operations is its own category, and in it is BOPUS, curbside, pickup, return, locker, same-day delivery, ship to store, and warehousing and robotics, which often sometimes are making their way into back rooms of stores as well, interestingly enough. So this idea that we can just, it's all an online thing. It's not an online thing. It's very much a physical thing too. And we need to understand the implications of like how our physical stores are working and how these things need to work in order to support the programs that we're doing.
I think that it comes down to the primary concept of customer confidence. When we have real and accurate inventory data available and a customer can interact with it, they build confidence in the purchase and in the brand. An example being that when we've made a purchase, we immediately go to our email and check to see, did we get the notification that the order has been completed? And now we're keeping our eye to find out, did they tell me it's in stock? Did they tell me that it's shipped? And we see a return rate of spiking up over 5% when that's not a nice tight time box, because customers lose confidence that their order's happening behind the scenes. So we need to have real-time inventory and that transparency with the customer so that they know with confidence that something's happening out of their control and that their order is going to get there before they get nervous and make a return before it's even arrived. Also, operationalizing BOPUS and curbside, I think is huge. Customers aren't shopping BOPUS and curbside because it's convenient. They're shopping because they want to know that the inventory in stock is going to be there when they arrive. So we want to up that order value, and we want to make sure that the customer knows this is going to be in my hand when I get there to the store, and I'm not going to have to experience the disappointment. So if we don't have that mature connectivity, there really is no way to build customer confidence if we can't actually speak and work with the customer, if the customer is driving the experience on their own.
Why use sort of like an order management system as opposed to an ERP? Today's digital, an ERP is an accounting system, right? It was designed to process financial transactions. It wasn't designed for a whole bunch of digital channels to be constantly pounding it with requests for is something in stock or not, and where is it in stock? And on the back end, it wasn't designed to constantly be consuming real-time updates of inventory from all your other systems and consolidating them. And so what an order management system does is a little bit different, right? We think of it as the product availability master, right? It's not your inventory master, but it's an availability master, giving you an accurate real-time view of what you have available to sell across all your channels and giving you a better way at scale to be able to serve that information up to your digital channels. People still send us RFPs sometimes that talk about, how many orders can you process per second? And it's like, whoa, you're asking the wrong question, because the ratio of orders to product availability checks can vary from 3 to 1 for a general merchandise retailer or a lower cost apparel retailer to 700 to 1 at a luxury brand, because people often go window shopping before they actually make a purchase. So it's really important that you think about the scale of your product availability checks when you're considering how you want to serve up real-time inventory to all your digital channels.
People do not use, generally people use buy online, pick up in store because they don't want to waste that trip, right? Like that is, I want you to, hopefully everyone on the other end of this call here that are listening to this webinar, hopefully you're all buying things. I would assume that you are and that you're consumers. And because of that, you know what that feels like, right? It's like, oh, you said it was going to be ready, and then you get to the store, right? It's a terrible experience, right? And so the risk is that now the customer's not going to use this anymore. I said I would get to this later. Remembering that a consumer that walks into your store, buys something off the shelf and just checks out, they're perfectly happy. Like that's exactly what they wanted to do. But now you've moved them to a system of buying where you messed up that order because now you're offering a way of shopping that's brand new, but then you messed it up. You're converting what normally is, it's all about expectations, right? And if your expectations is now, this is going to be ready for me, and I get there and it's not ready for me, or you pulled the wrong item, or you don't have it in stock, like now you've moved good customers into a bad category.
I find in that vein of thinking that when an OMS is introduced into a tech stack from the retailer's point of view, it's often looked at by a small buying group to solve a sliver of a problem, and 10% of, and it's not just specific to OMS, it's across buying all e-com tech. They solve 10% of a problem with a sliver of this tech. They let the rest of the tech sit there and pay a subscription on owning this massive piece of tech, and they've solved their problem. The person that uses it from an admin point of view, they've solved their problem. Their day-to-day feels better when it comes to stock and inventory. So they're looking at stock and inventory. It's easy for them to access now. How does that play out for their coworkers, their leadership, and the customer in this case? Is not considered. It's not a group effort in examining the situation and the reason for introducing this technology into the stack.
And it's a great point, because the thing that also is required for that to be successful, you know, unfortunately, as much as we like to think that the whole customer strategy is omni-channel, there's still often silos in a business. So what's in it for me as a store manager? I've got an associate who's being asked to do more than ever. Now they're a cashier, and they're a salesperson, and they're a product expert, and now they're fulfilling maybe, and now they're doing customer service because my order is not available, and maybe they're running these orders out into a curbside new pickup stand that we designed. I'm doing all of this, and you know, it's very difficult to manage. We know that the labor market's really challenging for retail right now. So you're asking this associate to evolve and be this superhuman, or and you've asked those managers in the store to also make decisions about, where do I prioritize my resources? And if the incentives aren't right, and I'm not going to get credit for that sale, or I'm not somehow going to get payback onto my labor for staffing that fulfillment, it becomes a real challenge for adoption and motivation for what's in it for those stakeholders. I think that's a fair point.
Yeah, look, I think the big thing is the challenge with something like inventory accuracy is it has no one single owner in an organization, and yet it touches so many different departments and can have a big impact on those departments. And while the tools to fix it might be IT tools, it's not necessarily, we're seeing a big trend towards multi-department funding, right? So it's not necessarily the CIO who owns the entire budget for it. You need to get your buy-in from your e-com team, right? Because they want to reduce overselling and underselling, because that makes their numbers look better. You need to get buy-in from your store ops teams, right? Because they want to make sure they're providing a great employee experience and customer experience inside the store. And then don't forget your customer service teams as well. We have a couple of customers that have completely funded their order management implementation and license costs by reduced customer service calls alone, because they were getting so many calls from canceled orders, or so many calls from where is my order, and they've been able to provide additional notifications throughout the order lifecycle that they've reduced those calls. And so the ROI can come from lots of different places, and it's important to talk to lots of different people and get their buy-in and bring them along your journey, early in the process. Otherwise, that journey has to start all over when you go to procurement, and that can just take a really long time to get the job done.